Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
All right, folks, I talk a lot about writing books because it's a passion of mine. It's something I love, and it's been one of my most stable passive income streams. Well, sort of passive. You got to write the book. But once I release the book, it's mostly a passive income stream. And so it's also something I encourage my kids to do. A big tenet of our language arts classes for our homeschool is writing a book, authoring their own book. And several of my kids have written books so far. And I have a special guest today, Miss Astrid Powers. Nope, there she is. And guess what? She just wrote her first book. So I know there's a lot of people out there that have always had a book inside of them. And you can come over here and sit beside me on the seat there. A lot of people out there have always wanted to write a book, got a book inside them, and just never let it escape. And so guess what she did? She wrote her first book. She's actually got some others already planned, and she is starting up a dog training business. Matter of fact, we're down in the basement right now, and the door to the stairway is open. And usually when she's down here, you may hear the dog whining because he sits there waiting until she comes back upstairs. And so she's starting a dog training business, and she's got tons of ideas for dog training books. But this first one is about animals, but not necessarily dogs, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so why don't you go ahead and show us your book, and or show them the books if they're watching on YouTube, and tell them about it. So it's Pewie's New Friend. There we go. Hold it. Oh, tell you what, put it in front of my face because you're prettier than me. Pewie's New Friend by Astrid Powers. And she designed the artwork for the cover. She did the cover. What's on the back? Let's see. Oh, there's a picture of her on the back. See, the book, it's worth buying the book just for the picture of her alone. And so it's got her bio and everything on the back. And so Pewie's New Friend, you wrote a book about a skunk. What's that all about? Why'd you pick a skunk?
Because they're unique and they don't have that many friends.
Oh, that's a good point. And the book is about friendship. Why don't skunks have many friends?
Because they're scared they're going to spray them.
Scared they're going to spray them. Yeah, kind of like your little brother. He sprays smells around sometimes that we don't appreciate. But we're still friends with him, right? Yeah, and she and I have always kind of had a little bit of a dream of getting a skunk and keeping it for a pet, having its stinker removed, but keeping it for a pet. And I think it would be so cool if we get a skunk, have its stinker removed, but train it to still stand up on its hind legs just to scare people. I think that would be so much fun. And they are cute. She's got a little stuffed animal skunk. And sorry, put it in front of you again. A stuffed animal skunk. And of course, it's named Pewie. And so, Astrid, you wrote all the story. Was that fun doing all the writing part?
Sometimes.
Sometimes?
Some of it.
Some of it. And so the intro that she wrote is my first book. And then I wrote a couple of intro sections like this one. We actually, we taught her, mostly she taught herself. We got her started, and then she taught herself how to do AI art. And so all of the interior art is AI created. Oh, you see there's a unicorn there. If you like unicorns and or skunks, you need to get the book. What age level would you say this book is?
Probably younger.
Younger? Younger than who? Like I'm 49.
Maybe younger than you.
Oh, maybe. Okay. So, but anybody could enjoy it, right? Like somebody as ancient as me could enjoy reading it to their kids. Yeah. And people are probably wondering because they don't know. You wrote and published, and by the way, this is published and available on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes because be sure to buy some of these because, the money is going to go to her, not just me. And so people are thinking, how old is this little girl that wrote a book? How old are you?
10.
10. And I didn't ask her that just to get her to say, I have 5 kids, and sometimes I forget how old they are. And she's getting ready to have a birthday. About the time I remember all their ages and can rattle them off straight through, one of them has a birthday and it throws everything out of whack. All right, so like I was saying, though, she did the AI art in this. And look, that is awesome with that. If you're you definitely want to watch the YouTube version of this podcast because these pictures are amazing. Maybe that'll make you want to buy the book. But she wrote all the dialogue. Of course, we went through, how many drafts would you say we went through?
A few.
A few drafts. And then there's some stuff at the end. Let's see. I'm just kind of paging through this because I haven't looked through it in a couple weeks. That's my copy too. That one goes on my shelf because I thought it was pretty awesome. I need to have you autograph it. So we went through a few drafts, and like I said, that was part of our language arts curriculum was writing this book. And it's written, it's published. People can order copies on Amazon. And how does that make you feel that you can actually tell people at 10 years old you're a published author?
Pretty good.
Pretty good, pretty neat. I wonder how many kids your age could say that. I mean, a lot of adults want to be able to say that and can't. And that's pretty awesome. Yeah, my wife's going to check on the dog. Did you hear him whining? You might not have picked that up on the microphone. Right now, I tell you what, since we got you on here and I already chased a squirrel with hearing the dog, tell us about the dog. What's the dog's name that we're training or you're training?
Scout.
Scout. And what's special about him?
He is going to be a service animal.
A service animal. And Scout is what kind of dog?
A Labrador Retriever.
Scout is a Labrador Retriever, a yellow lab, beautiful dog. We've had him, what was he, 6 months old when we got him?
No, he's 6 months now.
Oh, he's 6 months now. Okay. So he was like tiny when we got him, and now he's like a monster. We partnered with Dogs Inc. down in Florida, and they train service animals for a variety of reasons, a variety of different uses. And so what we're doing, I say I fuss about the dog, like when he has an upset stomach and poops all over the place. I fuss, she trains. So she is training this dog, doing all the puppy training, the housebreaking, basic commands, and it's pretty amazing what she can get him to do. It's just really neat. And her and my wife, they're doing all the work. Like I said, I just pet him every now and then and fuss. And probably more fussing than petting when there's poopage. But it's pretty neat. They've taken him all to all different kinds of stores. I got some video the other day. We were at a football game, and he was right in a recreational football game. So, like, 8-year-olds. And so he was up against the fence right in front of a whole pack of 20 little screaming cheerleader little girls and incredibly annoying little girls just screaming and cheering. It sounded horrible. It's cute if you're one of the parents. If you're not one of their parents, it's horrible. But he was just sitting there chilling. It didn't bother him at all. We've had him over 4th of July. Fireworks don't bother him. He just went through Hurricane Helene here at the house where we got slammed with Hurricane Helene up here in South Carolina. And he did fine, no troubles with that. And so it's pretty amazing. She's doing an awesome job. And so I got 2 things to tell you before we wrap up this interview is number 1, go buy a copy of her book because it'll help pay for her college, her first house, whatever. I won't let her blow all the money on just unicorns and skunk stuffed animals. So do that. And then number 2, on Instagram, Dog's Heart Ranch, or is it The Dog's Heart?
Dog's Heart.
The Dog's Heart Ranch on Instagram. She's already got an Instagram page for her dog training business, and she releases some of her other school activities. I mean, we've got it all wrapped around homeschool, her learning how to train dogs, and so she's actually creating what she calls one-pagers, little one-page documents that give you tips and tricks to help train your dog, take care of your dog. What was the most recent one you finished this week? Was it routines? Was that the one?
No, that was a few weeks
Oh, if you would see, I get them mixed up too.
Mental.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, she designed a one-pager on how to keep your dog mentally stimulated. And
Oh,
yeah,
and the most latest one I did, I don't know if it's out yet, but it was puppy proofing your house.
puppy proofing your house. I think we will be. And she releases these on her Instagram page, and they're images, beautiful images that she designs in Canva and prints and publishes and puts them on her Instagram page. So if you need some help with your dog, the tips are free, but if you want your dog trained and you're anywhere near us in South Carolina, she's starting up the business. And so be sure to get in touch. As always, I'll put all the links in the show notes. Thank you, Miss Astrid, for joining us. And we will see you all next time. Hey, everybody, got a little podcast extra for you. As I've said before on some previous podcasts, I read a lot. I get a lot of magazines. I like to read things in my hands and not so much on the computer all the time. And this, excuse me, this is the magazine from the HSLDA, the Homeschool Legal Defense Association. Been a member for quite a few years. I mean, we've been homeschooling our kids from day one. And so my oldest, we've graduated him. So, I mean, we've been homeschooling for, 18, 19 years now between all the various kids. And we've got about another 10 years to go with the younger ones. And so we'll be members of the HSLDA for quite a while. But This is an entrepreneurial podcast. That's why I'm bringing this up. If you're homeschooling, excellent place, excellent group of people. They've actually helped us before, join them. But back to the business side of things, they had an article in their recent issue titled "Why We're Refocusing Our Mission on Legal Advocacy." And so this is what I want to point out for you as business folks, as entrepreneurs, as small business kings and queens, is that you should niche and focus. I know people preach that a lot, and I've done this. The main mistake when people preach the niching is the way to go, and hyper niching, and keep going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you find the right size audience. And people like me and you probably say, but I want to reach everybody. I don't want a small audience. I want to just talk to everybody, men, women, and children from ages 2 to 142 in all demographics. And well, that truth of the matter is that just doesn't work. I mean, that doesn't even work for McDonald's. That doesn't even work for the gas station. I mean, there are people from different demographics that go to different kinds of gas stations for different reasons. I mean, one of the ones near me has a really, really good coffee bar. Now, that doesn't appeal to everybody. Another one nearby has really awesome sweet tea, and that appeals to my pastor because he is one of their regular customers. So if even gas stations and fast food restaurants don't try to appeal to everybody, you definitely shouldn't. So let me tell you what the HSLDA is doing and see if this gives some ideas for you and maybe some stuff you can do with your business. Maybe it'll encourage you to niche down a little bit. So here we go. They started out, their tagline was making homeschooling possible. And basically what they did was they went from defending homeschoolers and the institution of homeschooling on the legal front in courtrooms, at state board meetings, just anywhere homeschooling became a legal issue. They would work with people as low as like their individual situations at a school, or they would work all the way up to appearing at the Supreme Court of the United States of America to argue in favor of homeschooling. Now they even go all over the world. I mean, they've got cases in other countries right now of homeschoolers that need help. I mean, with all that, that's pretty amazing to me. But here's the thing. At the time, they also kept branching out into curriculum and into helping people get started homeschooling and things like that. And they realized, you know what? That mission that's not a niche. That's not even in our name, Homeschool Legal Defense Association. And so they realized recently that they needed to niche back down. They needed to pare it back down into their focus. And here's the thing. When you need to do that kind of thing, or when they did this, it's not like you're leaving a bunch of people in a lurch. There are countless organizations and businesses and family advocates and people out there in the homeschooling world that will pick up the ball. As a matter of fact, with the HSLDA doing this little niching down process, it's actually going to open up opportunities for all kinds of businesses and all kinds of people and ministries and nonprofits to step in and replace, to fill that void, to fill in that gap that the HSLDA is kind of walking away from. And so you really need to consider this for your business as well. So their new tagline, so they're switching from making homeschooling possible to advocates for homeschooling. An advocate kind of being a legal term, and because it's mostly Christians and Christian families, not completely. If you're not on the right path, so to speak, you can still join them and they'll still help you. But let's be honest, most of us homeschoolers are Christians, and advocate also has a spiritual implication. But what they're doing is they're focusing more on courts, government cases, lawyer stuff, that kind of thing. That needs people who are licensed and ultra professional and the kind of people that wear suits every day to work, not like a lot of us. And so that's what they're hyper niching back down to, which is their core mission. And so that's what I want you to think about. I've got a business that deals with prepping. Now, if any of you are familiar with prepping or think preppers are a bunch of crazy psychos, it's not completely true, but there are a bunch of them out there. But the thing is, I am not. At one point, I was trying to appeal to other preppers. Now, the downside is that is a very, very crowded market, and pretty much everybody that's selling things in that market looks like me. middle-aged, bald guy with a beard that has all kinds of military background and everything going for him. And I was a small fish in a big market. So what I did, what my business now does, is my prepared is what it's called, prepareddad.com if you want to check it out. But what my business does is I'm only trying to reach dads who are they work a full-time job, they want to take care of their families, but they have zero experience in emergency services, law enforcement, or military. They just want to learn how to take care of their families and keep them safe. My demographic is even like 30 to 55, and it's the men. Now, women, I've got some women in there too. Just because I hyper niche down doesn't mean those people don't come to me, but it means I have a core audience that is really hungry for what I'm trying to put out there. That's what they're doing. And with your business, no matter what it is, you need to do the same thing. You need to find a way to niche down and then niche it down a little more and niche it down a little more and just keep working at it. Now, if you want some help with this, if you want to, sorry, I had a cough I just can't get rid of. And as soon as I start talking, I need to get my energy drink or some coffee running here. But if you want to brainstorm some of this and you want to talk to me and we can work on that, because sometimes niching down is one of the hardest things you can do because you really do want to reach everybody. If you're in a ministry, especially, you think I've got to reach the entire world for Christ. But the truth of the matter is, churches have a demographic profile, and even churches. So if you want to brainstorm some of this, get in touch. The links are going to be below in the notes and everything. And I hope you enjoyed the podcast that came before this. Hope you enjoyed this extra little nugget as well.